We're going to take a lime. Anytime you work with citrus, it's always a good idea to roll it on the counter to get as much juice out of it as possible. And whenever I use citrus, I also like to use the zest in addition. The hardest thing is finding where you put things. That's always my problem. Okay, so this is another tool called a zester. You could also use a grater on the finest thing. But I also, and you don't even worry about making dressing in a separate bowl. I just do everything in the same bowl, and it works out fine. But I do like to add this zest because we're using the lime, and I like to use everything, kind of like the American Indians do. They don't waste anything. So and zest is really fragrant in baking and in cooking, whether it's lemon or orange, but make sure you're using that fruit that you're using the zest of. So I've got the zest. And actually, I had some left over from an earlier recipe, and I'm just going to add that because the limier, the better. I love lime, especially in Asian-type foods. I suppose you could use lemon. It doesn't exactly have the same flavor, but in a pinch, that would do. And I'm just going to squeeze the juice of the lime right over the cucumbers. My guess is that probably was about 3 tablespoons, but again, it's really not that important to measure in this recipe anyway. And for oil, I'm using a toasted sesame oil. Now, oil's interesting because some people want to avoid it completely, which you probably could, but I think a tablespoon will probably not kill you. A lot of people in Asian cooking use peanut oil, and that's very traditional, but a lot of people have peanut allergies, so I personally just err on the side of caution and just don't use it. Sometimes they'll use vegetable oil or soybean oil. I like things that taste really good, and for me, this toasted sesame oil has a really good, distinctive flavor. I'm only using 1 tablespoon for the whole 2 pounds of cucumber. That's not a lot of oil. And I suppose you could even use olive oil. I haven't tried it, but if that's all you have, olive oil generally tastes good in a salad. I'm going to mix it up really well. And I'm going to just use a little bit of red pepper flakes. Generally, when I serve this salad, I have the red pepper flakes on the side so people can add more. Some people like things spicier. I try to kind of go middle of the road, but I like to have a little bit of heat. So I have a half a teaspoon of that. And you know, if you didn't have that, you could also use the chili paste that often comes with your takeout food. You get these little packets and you don't know what to do with them. This works great in here. And again, this is optional, but I'm going to use about a half a teaspoon of the best quality sea salt. I like the Himalayan, but any sea salt will do. Just don't use table salt or that icky white stuff.